Hare Krishna.
Sorry for asking again and again. The shiny one. This one? Shiny one is what works. Okay. Maybe it's not the one. The other one.
Give it from that side, no? Enkal Nitishi. Oh, where is the పెట్టాలి ప్రభు అది చెవులకు పెట్టాలి. కింద అక్కడ పక్కన దాని పెట్టి వెనకాల పెట్టి యా బెస్ట్. రెండు వస్తాయా? రెండు వస్తాయా? చాలు. కెమెరా
ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकाय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय विष्णुपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने. नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So we continue our discussion on the Gopi Gita today. So yesterday, the gopis, while they're in separation from Krishna, are remembering how they see Krishna. So we talked about how they see him in the morning, and now we'll talk about how they see him in the evening. So thank you very much for coming today. Today we will such beautiful pictures of Krishna. Krishna has a very fancy hairstyle there. So Dina Parikshaye, Dina Para, at the end of the day, Ikshaye, we see you, Neela Kuntalai. So we see the gopis are now describing Krishna's beautiful face. So they describe how normally when a person comes back at the end of the day, they look tired, they're exhausted. But, and especially if somebody has come from a place where they go and work, then maybe they are dusty, dirty, sweaty. But they're saying that for Krishna, when he goes into the forest and when he comes back, he has his bluish complexion, he has his dark black hair. And then when he comes as the cows and they're going through Vrindavan, their hooves as they touch the ground, it raises some dust. And that dust spreads everywhere. So in fact, when Krishna comes back in the evening, at that time, they know when the dust cloud starts rising that now the cows are coming back. So this dust also settles on Krishna's face. So they are saying, Vanaruhananam Vibridavritam. So your face, even when it is covered with dust, it looks like a beautiful lotus. Vanaruhananam. Earlier it was Jalaruhananam. It was like a water lotus. Now it is a forest lotus. So the idea of a forest lotus is that that in the forest sometimes dust rises and the dust may settle around the lotus, but the lotus still remains beautiful. So similarly, the dust comes on Krishna's face, but Vanaruhananam Vibridavritam. So Krishna's face is covered by his locks of hair. And a Ghanarajasvalam. So Rajas is a Mahatpad Rajobhishekam. We say Raja is dust. So Rajobhishekam is that we want to bathe in the dust of the lotus feet of the great soul. So Ghanarajasvalam, they're saying that the dust, when it comes on Krishna's face, it actually beautifies his face. So that dust appears to be what we might call it as a cosmetic powder, which seems to enhance the beauty of Krishna's face. So Ghanarajasvalam Darshayan Muhu. So we long to see it. When we look at it and we look at it again and again and again. So Darshan is to see, Muhur is to see again and again and again. So now there is sometimes glancing and then there is staring. So glance is one time. When we stare, we look incessantly. So here, sometimes staring is considered a little impolite, but the gopis are drinking Krishna's beauty with their eyes. They're saying that Darshayan Muhu. We see again and again and again. Manasina Smaram. But at that time, Manasi, in our minds, what rises? Smara. So Smara is another name for Kamade, for desire. So here it's not Smaran, it's Smaram. Smara. Manasima Smara. Veerayachisi. Oh hero, at that time desire again rises in our heart. We long for you. And that longing which we had, when we every evening, tonight when you called us, we thought our longing to be with you would be fulfilled. But now you came, you called us and then you left. So please, that longing is tormenting us. Oh Krishna, please return. Yes, can we sing it? Okay, good.
दिनपरीक्षये नीलकुन्तले वनरुहाननं विग्रहावृतम् दिनपरीक्षये नीलकुन्तले वनरुहाननं विग्रहावृतम् घनरजस्वलं दर्शयन् मुहुः घनरजस्वलं दर्शयन् मुहुः मनसिना स्मरं वीरयच्छसि मनसिना स्मरं वीरयच्छसि दिनपरीक्षये नीलकुन्तले वनरुहाननं विग्रहावृतम् घनरजस्वलं दर्शयन् मुहुः मनसिना स्मरं वीरयच्छसि
So every day when Krishna departs, at one level, the gopis know that Krishna is going to return. But for them, every moment is a moment of intense longing and separation. Yugaitam Nimeshena. So one nimesha, one moment seems to be like a millennia. So they are feeling such immense separation from Krishna for every moment. That in one sense, when Krishna goes with the forest in the morning, the gopis' hearts go with him. Their bodies stay in the village of Vrindavan, the gopis' hearts go. And in the 19th, 20th chapter, this is the 31st chapter of the 10th canto. The 19th, 20th, 21st chapters, there are the first references to the Madhurya Ras, to the what is called as Purva Bhava. Purva Bhava is before full attraction manifests, the attraction that manifests before that. So when that happens, it's described the gopis are contemplating that, oh, Krishna in the forest, and everything that they are experiencing, they are thinking in terms of Krishna. That means, oh, it's become a little too hot now. So we are feeling it hot here in our homes, in the village. How much it must be hotter for Krishna? Has Krishna found some tree in which he can take shelter? But he has to be moving with the cows. The cows will go here and then Krishna will go with them. And then they think that Krishna will not get any shade. And they look at the sky and look at the clouds. And they pray to the clouds. Oh, clouds, come above Krishna and give him shelter. And then when the clouds seem to move, as if they are responding to the gopis' prayers, the clouds seem to move and they come and they give shelter to Krishna. And then it is shared over there, but the gopis feel shade over here. They feel light. And then suddenly, after some time, again, it starts becoming hotter. And the gopis start thinking, oh, why has it become hot? And they start thinking, actually, what has happened is that the sun wanted to have darshan of Krishna. And the clouds came in the way. And that's why the sun has become hotter. And the sun is trying to get the clouds out of the way so that the sun can have darshan. That the clouds are evaporating. But then, oh, Krishna is feeling hot. But then, as the clouds start evaporating, some soothing drops of water come down. And they think, yeah, it's hot, but at least some water is coming. Krishna will be feeling comfortable. So everything that is happening, the gopis are seeing through the lens of the comfort of Krishna. And now we may wonder, is this real? That is it really that the sun wants to take darshan of Krishna? And is it that the cloud actually, they thank the clouds, cloud, please thank you for coming and serving Krishna. Is it that the clouds want to serve Krishna? And the clouds are coming in the way because of that. Well, of course, in Vrindavan, you can say everything is connected with Krishna. All the elements in Vrindavan exist for the purpose of the pleasure of Krishna. So, in Vrindavan, are there temples? Are there devatas? When we say the spiritual world, there are no devatas. There are no need to temple. Krishna is himself there. But that does not mean the Brajvasis are atheists. So there are temples over there also. But those temples, all the Brajvasis pray simply for Krishna's welfare. The Brajvasis simply, so everything in one sense that is there in this material world is there in its pure form in the spiritual world. A pure form means it is simply for the pleasure of Krishna. And in this way, the Brajvasis are thinking, especially the gopis in this particular, that, oh, when will Krishna return? So every atmospheric change that is happening, they are thinking, how Krishna be experiencing this? And finally, when they come back and they see, they wonder, will Krishna be exhausted? Will Krishna be sweaty? Krishna be tired? But Krishna looks so fresh. Krishna looks so energetic. Krishna looks so beautiful. That their hearts are filled with both relief and anticipation. They're relieved that Krishna is fine, anticipation. They want to be with Krishna. And that's why they're saying over here that Krishna, at the end of the day, there's always desire in the heart. The gopis long to be with Krishna. That utkanta, that longing is there. And the Bhakti Samsudra, it is called as lavulya. So generally greed is considered to be a bad thing. But greed for Krishna is in one sense the greatest possession that the soul can have. When our heart is filled with many desires and we cannot become desireless. That is practically speaking impossible. But we may say that, okay, I can't become desireless. That is the longing of the impersonalist. Well, that is not possible because even from a logical perspective, to want to be desireless is also a desire, isn't it? So we cannot be desireless. So somebody will say, okay, I will desire less. I cannot become desireless, but I desire less. And yes, in one sense, we could say if we consider three modes, tamas, rajas, and sattva. So, sorry, tamas is below. So now, where do you think the desire is the strongest? Rajas, yes. In rajas, there is very strong desire. We could say in sattva, the desire becomes lesser. Now, what happens in tamas? Is there desire?
Yes.
Yes. You could say there is desire, but the desire takes us downwards. Now, in rajas, it can be upward, it can be downwards. It depends how that rajas is directed. But in general, rajas, there is strong desire. In tamas, there is weak desire. In sattva also, there is weak desire. But what is happening is, in one sense, the desire is getting redirected. Sometimes we think we want to become desireless or we just want to desire less, which is a good thing at one level, but it's not that simple. Because both sattva and tamas are characterized by less desire. In fact, one of the defining characteristics of depression is just the absence of desire. And that's a dangerous thing to be in. A person has no desire. Why even get out of bed? Why do anything at all? Why even take a bath? Why even eat food? Why even live? So, in one sense, we want to rise upward in consciousness, not go downward. And if somebody is very frustrated with life, and then they are frustrated, tell you, anyway, life is a frustrating place only. That message can actually just kill all their desires. But that doesn't necessarily mean they will rise upward. So that's why bhakti or spiritual growth is not so much elimination of desire as it is elevation of desire. So that means elimination is no desire, but elevation is desire directed toward a higher purpose. So we could say, as we are moving from sattva to tamas, from rajas to sattva, so it's like the desire is gradually getting redirected. So it is getting more and more elevated. And at the highest level of Shuddha Sattva, what happens is, there is desire, it is a very strong desire. But it is a desire to serve Krishna. It is a desire to please Krishna. So it is this desire, if we consider the Prabhupada. Now Prabhupada, there were other god brothers. Some of them had been sannyasis throughout their life. Many of them had studied Shastra throughout their life. Prabhupada, as a householder, as a businessman, didn't have so much time to study Shastra. It was still amazing how Prabhupada studied so much. Because you see, Prabhupada quotes so many verses in his books. And I asked Sapsur Maharaj, other devotees, that actually when did Prabhupada read books? Prabhupada had a busy family life, Prabhupada had a busy business. Because Prabhupada was, in one sense, while he was doing business, he was actually doing it quite vigorously. Although it didn't work out. Now, we know Prabhupada was first in Kolkata, then he came to Mumbai for some time, then he went to Allahabad. So, pharmacy he added. So now, in those times, it was not so common for people to move. Yeah, nowadays with jobs, people move very easily. But for people to move across and then start a whole business, move your whole family or leave your family, whichever you go, is not that common. The Prabhupada was doing that not just because of financial compulsion. It's because Prabhupada had that hope that he could serve his Guru Maharaj's mission by giving a lot of money. In fact, he had an astrologer told that he might become one of the wealthiest persons in the country. And Prabhupada thought, then if that is my destiny, then I will use wealth for serving Krishna. So Prabhupada was quite dedicated to his professional work. So then I asked him, when did Prabhupada study? So actually Prabhupada primarily read when he was traveling. He would travel a lot by trains. And during his train traveling, that's when he would read. And that's when you read and you memorize. See, now when we want a verse reference, we just go to Vedaves, we go to Google and find a reference. Now for Prabhupada, he uses so many references. And it was not that Prabhupada was traveling with a big library of books. He had some books. But Prabhupada was not not a very heavy traveler. He got a huge amount of luggage. He had some books. So he took now some of the references that Prabhupada used are from previous Acharya's commentaries. But others are from his own learning. But the point I'm making is that Prabhupada was extraordinarily learned, but still it was not that he didn't have as much time as some of his other godbrothers had. So there are other godbrothers who were more learned than him. The other godbrothers who had been renunciates throughout their life. What differentiated Prabhupada from his godbrothers was the strength of his desire. The strength of his desire to serve Krishna, to fulfill the mission of his spiritual master. We know the extraordinary meeting of Prabhupada with Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. The first meeting only said that, why don't you spread Krishna consciousness all over the world? So, well, that is true, but it is not that Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur gave this instruction only to Prabhupada. Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur actually, this was, his aspiration was very known. And he actually, first of all, funded his own disciples to go abroad and do preaching. So, Prabhupada had the distinctive qualification that he had was that lamya, that especially strong desire to serve Krishna. So the legacy, I mentioned this the other day, the legacy we get from the Guru Parampara, if at all any legacy we get, it is the desire to glorify Krishna. And at one time, Prabhupada said that when he had come to Mayapur, Prabhupada came directly to our Chandrodaya Mandir, and then some of the other Gaudiya Vaishnavas there, including some of his godbrothers, they said he should have come to the Yoga Pita, the place where Mahaprabhu appeared. Why didn't he come there? Prabhupada, of course, went there later to the Hadarship. But Prabhupada, when he heard this, Prabhupada was a bit disappointed with the petty nature of the criticism. He says that more important than where Mahaprabhu appeared is why Mahaprabhu appeared. And Prabhupada said that why, that reason is being fulfilled here in the Mayapur Shivadeva. Mahaprabhu's prophecy was that his holy name would be chanted, Krishna's holy name would be chanted all over the world. And that prophecy was being fulfilled in the Mayapur Shivadeva. The Prabhupada had got devotees from all over the world. Now, Prabhupada, in one sense, there was the Lord's prophecy, and there were different attitudes. There are different people who try to explain it in different ways. Now, even among his God family, there's some who said that actually at that time when Mahaprabhu made this prophecy, Prithvi meant India. And Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur has spread Gaudiya Math all over the world, so the prophecy is already fulfilled. Hmm? And then some others said that actually it is an alankar. Alankar means it's a poetic ornament. What is alankar? It is an exaggeration. What is that? The atishoyakti. It is an exaggeration. Yeah, actually, it's not literally all over the world. It spread so far and wide. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Bengal, but now it spread across the country. But Prabhupada saw the Lord's prophecy as his responsibility. That if the Lord has made his prophecy, then it is my responsibility to fulfill it. And that's what drove him. That's what drove him to travel across the world, even in old age. Prabhupada used to talk about Krishna with everyone who came to meet him during the day. And during the night, Prabhupada would talk about Krishna with the people who hadn't yet come to meet him. That's why Prabhupada was writing his books. And in that way, Prabhupada was filling the world with Krishna vibrations, with divine sound vibrations. And while the specifics vary, but the principle is the same. The specific is the gopis are longing to be with Krishna. Now they may perform the rasa dance. All that is for the pleasure of Krishna. All that is for serving Krishna. And for all of us also, when we long to grow spiritually. So it is the greater our desire for Krishna, the more we will be in proximity with Krishna. So in one sense, Prabhupada went away from Vrindavan to America. But while he went further away from the abode of Krishna, Prabhupada actually went closer to Krishna. Krishna came in Prabhupada's dream when he was on Jalduta. And when he was on Jalduta, Krishna said, I have made all the arrangements for you. And after that, Captain Pandya said that during his 40 years of travel, he has never seen the Atlantic to be as peaceful as it was during that time. And Prabhupada said it's Krishna's arrangement. And Captain Pandya, he was the captain of the ship, he said, his wife says, Swamiji, you come back again, our journey will be peaceful. Prabhupada said that is not Krishna's purpose. So the point is that when we long to grow spiritually, one of the things that we can aspire for is the desire to glorify Krishna. So the point I was making earlier is that Prabhupada, when he said that, why did Mahaprabhu come? That is more important than where he came. And Prabhupada said something. Sometimes Prabhupada could seem to be proud or boasting, but he always had a purpose, and that purpose was to glorify Krishna. Like Prabhupada would sometimes say, I went with 40 rupees, and now I have temples worth 40 crore rupees. Sometimes Prabhupada would say that. The point was not that I am so wealthy that I must have with 40 crore. The point was that Prabhupada would say, serving Krishna, there's never any loss. There'll always be gain by serving Krishna. So similarly, at this point, Prabhupada said that about he said, ask all those who are criticizing me, who has built more temples than me? Who has written more books than me? Who has written more disciples than me? Who has made more disciples than me? And then Prabhupada made the core point. This can seem to be bragging, but the point that Prabhupada was making was, I have inherited the legacy of my spiritual master. And then, what did he mean by that? What was the legacy? When the Gaudiya Math broke apart, Prabhupada did not get anything from the Gaudiya Math. But the legacy of his spiritual master is the desire to glorify Krishna. And Prabhupada said that, why can't they see, this is not to criticize the Gaudiya Math devotees, they were actually also very dedicated devotees in their own way, and they did extraordinary service to Srila Prabhupada. I'm talking here more about the principle of the desire. The desire. Prabhupada's qualification, what was the legacy that Prabhupada brought? That was the desire to glorify Krishna. So, when we say bhakti sanjayate bhakti, in the association of devotees, devotion arises. What does it mean? That means that when we are in association of devotees and we see devotees enthusiastically glorifying Krishna, then the desire to glorify Krishna arises in our heart. the desire to do japa, to do kirtan, to do seva, to distribute books, to do puja, to preach. All these desires arise in the association of devotees. So for us, that desire, if that increases, that's a great blessing. Oh, it's a great, when we associate with devotees, we want to be infected with Krishna consciousness. And what is that infection? An infection is that we get the desire to serve Krishna. Now, Prabhupada gave a very, to conclude this meditation with two examples. We are coming to a very practical level. The next verse we'll go again with more Krishna Lila level. But this, I talk about the principle of desire. That Prabhupada, he in Chaitanya Charitamrita, when Radharani's separation from Krishna has been described, or rather, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is remembering in the mood of Radharani, separation from Krishna. And very ecstatic states are described. And Prabhupada makes this statement, similar statements repeatedly. But the way to enter Radha Krishna Lila is to spread the Krishna conscious movement all over the world. I mean, they say, what is exactly going on over here? The way to enter Radha Krishna Lila, remember Radha Krishna, remember their intimate pastimes. Yes, that's also to be done. But the point is, we don't enter Radha Krishna Lila simply by remembering Radha Krishna. It is we have to remember them in a mood of service for their pleasure. And that Radha Krishna has come as Mahaprabhu, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. So he has come as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he wants us to spread Krishna consciousness. So rather than worrying, sometimes devotees fear that, no, I'm not getting taste in the holy name, my japa is distracted. Yes, it's a matter of concern. And we would like to increase our taste for the holy name. But at the same time, we can look in whichever direction we can get some desire to serve Krishna. And if we have that treasure there, if our desire is say to cook for Krishna in different ways, if our desire is to distribute books, if our desire is to start more and more programs, we have different communities and we want to have satsang in different programs. Take that desire. The point at our stage is, in one sense, when you want to be Krishna conscious, the point is we want to fill our consciousness with Krishna. And at this stage, it doesn't matter in which particular manifestation we fill Krishna. So it is, if you remember Krishna's pastime and become absorbed, it's wonderful. But that's not so easy at this stage. So you want to fill our consciousness with Krishna. And the key to filling our consciousness is desire. It's like whenever we have any desire, that desire fills our consciousness. If somebody has a desire to eat a particular kind of food, the desire grows, and then they can't think of anything except that food item. Sarvadharman parityajya annamekam sharanam. So if we water that desire, if we nourish that desire grows and then it fills our consciousness. So at our level, it is yena kena prakarena. That means in any way, any desire we get, take that as a blessing. And if we ask us, fine, I don't have any desire, then just look for some instruction. Look for some instruction and just make that into our desire. And just try doing that. Maybe that desire will become our life's mission. Or just by serving Krishna, maybe some other desire will be triggered. So some of us may feel like, maybe I should meet my spiritual master. My spiritual master can give me some instruction. It's wonderful if that happens. But in general, many of the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, who are among the leaders in our movement, many of them didn't really have much personal association with Prabhupada. So they didn't wait for a particular instruction from Prabhupada. What they did was, if you consider Prabhupada's mission is like a giant umbrella. Now, within that, we can find our small umbrella that gives us shelter, and then we can expand that umbrella so that we can give others shelter. Even Krishna was lifting over the hill. All the Gopas, initially they were just watching how wonderfully Krishna is lifting. Then they thought, Krishna will get tired. So they also started using their sticks. Now, in one sense, their sticks were useless. And then, but then, then Mother Yashoda was getting anxious. Krishna, he was really tired. And the Gopal said, no, we are also supporting Krishna. So, Prabhupada is holding this giant umbrella, and we can find out one small umbrella for ourselves. So that could be our, that will give us shelter, that will give our family shelter, that will give the people whom we connect with shelter. So take some desire, and from that desire, our Krishna consciousness will grow. So that, that that longing for Krishna doesn't necessarily have to be longing for Krishna in Vrindavan. It can be longing for Krishna, longing to take Krishna from Vrindavan to everywhere else, to manifest Vrindavan wherever we are. So that's why Laulya, like he said, Laulya. Laulya is Tatra Laulyam Api Maulyam Ekalam. It is the only prize for being Krishna conscious. Laulya is the Maulya. That if we can somehow get the desire for Krishna, then that will fill our heart with Krishna consciousness. In fact, in 12.8 and 12.9, Krishna talks about these two levels. 12.8, he says, always remember me, be absorbed in me. And then he says, if you can't do that, then try to remember me. Try to fix your mind on me. And he says, by this, what will happen? You will get desire for me. Ma ichhaptum dhananjaya. And once you get the desire for me, then you will rise to this level of always remembering. So, what for the gopis, the remembrance of Krishna, the sight of Krishna as returning to the forest, that's it. Their thing is triggering the desire within them. So we also can think, what is it that triggers my desire for Krishna? And we cherish that stimulus and let the desire grow and fill our consciousness. This has said this a couple of times. So what time do we need to stop?
9:30.
9:30. Okay, so maybe just we can do this once and then we'll do one more word.
दिनपरीक्षये नीलकुन्तले वनरुहाननं बिभ्रदावृतम् गणरजस्वलं दर्शयन्मुहुः मनसि न स्मरं वीरयच्छसि.
Again, the gopis are describing the pastimes, the lotus feet of Krishna. They are saying, Pranata Kamadam. So now the previous verse was about Manasina Smaram. The desire has come. So the desire is rising. What is the way to fulfill the desire? Pranata Kamadam. She says that those who go down to your lotus feet, Pranata, their Kamadam, your lotus feet fulfills their desires. And thus it is Padmajarchitam. That Padmaja is Brahmaji, one who was born from lotus flower. So Padmanabh is Vishnu, Padmaja is Brahmaji. Architam. You are worshipped even by Brahmaji. Your lotus feet are worshipped even by Brahmaji. And then from your lotus feet, the footprint that come, they are Dharani Mandanam. They are the ornaments of the earth. And these ornaments of the earth, Dheyamapadi. They are the best thing to meditate on when there is distress. And the gopis are saying, we are in immense distress. So we are meditating on your lotus feet. Dheyamapadi. And Charana Pankajam, those lotus feet. Shantamam Chate. Shantamam, they not only remove distress, but it also gives satisfaction, they give joy, they bring fulfillment. And Ramana Staneshwa Arpayadhiyan. Oh Ramana, Lord, please place those lotus feet on our bosoms, on our heart. Arpayadhiyan. And the distress that is there, the agony, the angst that is there in our heart, destroy that. So please free us from distress. So in this, both again, the the Aishwarya and the Madhurya are coming up. The Krishna, your lotus feet are worshipped by Brahma, they're the ornament of the earth. But then they can relieve the agony of desire that is there in our hearts. So please, Krishna, return and place your lotus feet on our hearts. Please, please.
प्रणतकामदं पद्मजार्चितं
प्रणतकामदं पद्मजार्चितं
धरणिमण्डनं ध्येयमापदि
धरणिमण्डलं ध्येयमापदि
प्रणतकामदं पद्मजार्चितं
चरणकामदं पद्मजार्चितं
धरणिमण्डनं ध्येयमापदि
धरणिमण्डलं ध्येयमापदि
चरणपङ्कजं शन्तमं च ते
चरणपङ्कजं सन्तमं पदे
चरणपङ्कजं शन्तमं च ते
चरणपङ्कजं सन्तमं च ते
रमणनस्तने
रमणनस्तने सर्पयादिहम् रमणनस्तने सर्पयादिहम्
प्रणतकामदं पद्मजार्चितं
प्रणतकामदं पद्मजार्चितं धरणिमण्डलं ध्येयमापदि
चरणपङ्कजं शन्तमं च ते
चरणपङ्कजं सन्तमं च ते रमणनस्तने सर्पयादिहम्
There is a very significant echo of themes in the Bhagavatam overall. That is, say, sometimes some classes they flow one point to second point to third point to fourth point. And that's one way. But sometimes some classes are there's one central point, they come from that point in multiple ways. So the Gopi Gita is like that, I said. Please return. That's the theme. So sometimes the same point is explained from multiple perspectives in a class. So the Bhagavatam in some ways has a linear flow, but it also has a circular flow. It is coming back to the same point. The same point. One of the key points we discussed in Tavatathamrutam is that Krishna's manifestation is Krishna Katha. Another point which the Bhagavatam echoes repeatedly is that here the reference to Padmaja is there. Now, in some ways, you cannot consider that, you can consider that the Brahma and the gopis, they are very different. You could look at the difference from a material perspective, you look at from a difference from a spiritual perspective. From a material perspective, Brahma is the highest loka in this world. Even the Devatas go to him for help. And the gopis are even the earth, they are powerful kings. The gopis are not even kings of their villages, they're just cowherd women. So, in one sense, we could say that gopis are far inferior from a material perspective. And from a spiritual perspective, the gopis are pure devotees, so they're the highest. And Brahma is also an exalted devotee, but he's nowhere near the gopis. Anyway, the point is there's a big dissimilarity either way. From material and spiritual, there is dissimilarity. But in the Bhagavatam, there is a remarkable similarity that when Brahmaji appears, he's on a lotus, and what happens to Brahmaji at that time is he opens his eyes, and what happens is he's in space and he's spaced out. What am I supposed to do? Who am I? Where am I? He just doesn't know at all. So, and he starts, okay, suddenly if you wake up and you find there in a place where nothing seems familiar. And you start exploring the place. So Brahmaji, on the lotus, he tries to come down the lotus and he feels that it's so dark he can't even see anything. He can feel there's some water over there. So is there anyone here? Is there no one at all? Then he comes back, he tries to search as far as he can. And all that he gets is darkness. And at that time, what does he do? Finally, he has a sound vibration, he sits down, and then he starts performing austerity. Now, there's a remarkable similarity in the Gopi situation. Now, in Vrindavan, the Gopis are searching for Krishna. And searching everywhere they go as deep into the forest of Vrindavan as they can, and just can't find Krishna. So, there is searching, the similarity that they're searching and not finding. Not only not finding, all that they find is total darkness. Remember I mentioned how Anandanand says that the Gopis go so deep into the forest that they can't even see their own hand in front of them. And then again, what do the Gopis do? They come and sit down. They come back to the place from where it started. So Brahmaji comes back to the lotus flower and sits on that lotus bed in the bowl of the lotus flower. The Ras Leela is being performed on the banks of the Jamuna. From there, Krishna disappears. The Gopis search everywhere. The Gopis come back. They come back and sit down. And they sit down, and then Brahmaji performs tapasya. In one sense, he just doesn't know what to do. He doesn't even know who the Lord is. But he's performing tapasya. That's the principle. The specific form of tapasya, the purpose of that austerity is to call whoever is the divine, oh, please come, reveal yourself. What am I supposed to do? Please tell me. Now, similarly, the Gopis, they are also calling out to Krishna. We say that it's not exact tapasya, they're not fasting. But this is also the essential principle is they sit down, they call out. They call out to the Lord. So Brahmaji is calling out not by pretty or temple because he doesn't even know whom to pray to at that time. But the principle is that in this world, we all at some time or the other get caught in complete darkness. So we all are born in a particular place, we are raised by our parents, we learn some skills, we grow, we get a job, and we are moving around in the world doing things. And it's important to use our intelligence to do things. But sometimes in our life, we just experience complete darkness. Whichever direction we want to go, it just seems nothing is there. It seems to be like a dead end. So that's what Arjuna expressed experience in the Bhagavad Gita when he says that my mind is reeling, I don't know why I'm here. Avasthatum, I cannot be here. Nimittani cha pashyami viparitani keshu. I see all inauspiciousness in all directions. So when that happens, Arjuna sits down and he calls out to Krishna, Krishna, please guide me. Pruchhami tvam dharma sammurtinaha. So the key over here is that when things look down, and everything seems to be going down, when things do down, look up. Look up toward the Lord. So when we're talking about the lotus feet of the Lord, they are saying here, twice they say that, Arpayadihan, this free us from distress. And for the Pranata Kamadam, Padmajaj Dharani Mandanam, Deyam Apati. So in the time of distress, it is that the lotus feet of the Lord are the object of meditation. That no matter how many things may go wrong around us, Krishna is still God. Krishna is still in the spiritual world. Krishna is still playing his flute. Krishna is still performing his pastimes. Krishna is still there in our hearts, watching us and watching over us. He's watching us, he's knowing what is happening in our life, watching over us, he knows what is happening around us, and he cares for us. So the lotus feet of the Lord, when we meditate on them, what happens is that our consciousness rises up. You say, look up, what is there to look up? Sometimes people say, look within. It's a nice idea, but what do I look within? Sometimes, if our mind is agitated, you tell us look within, I see only chaos within. I don't want to look within. I tell you like that. So, both the idea look up or look within, in principle, they are good ideas. But we need tools for doing that. So, when we look within, what happens is, first there is the mind, and beyond that, there is the soul. But sometimes you just can't look beyond the mind only. You look within and just only see the mind roaring, and sometimes the mind is roaring, sometimes the mind is snoring. So it's roaring in Rajas, it's snoring in Tamas. And either way we get blocked. But what the prayers in the Bhagavatam that are there, the process of bhakti yoga that is there, that offers us tools. So the tools to go within, the Lord is there within us, and to go up, to pray. So, in general, to conclude with 2 points with me, there is meditation, there is prayer. Now, both are meant to connect with spiritual reality, but there is a slight difference. Prayer is when we talk to God. Meditation is when we listen to God. So, meditation is when we attune our consciousness to receive what God is saying. And another is chanting is both a prayer and a meditation. Chanting when we are doing, we are uttering sounds. Krishna, please engage with yourself. That's the meaning. So that's a prayer. But it's also meditation because Krishna is not different from his holy name. So when we are hearing the sound of the holy name, we are actually meditating on Krishna. So if we consider Krishna to be up here in the spiritual domain, and we are here. So when we speak to Krishna, that is prayer. We listen to Krishna, that is meditation. So both of them are ways in which we connect with Krishna. And Deyamapadi, that when the stress comes in this world, our first instinct is to figure out the problem. And that's understandable. But if you remember that actually, it is every distress is an opportunity for us to turn toward Krishna, to remember Krishna. So it's like the distresses of this world, whatever be their cause and whatever be their complexity, their purpose is it's prompting us turn toward Krishna, remember Krishna. So and when we do this, we will find not only will that distress decrease, but we will experience a higher satisfaction. Chantamam chate. Satisfaction that comes from completely different source. So like this is my consciousness, and say there is some distress. There is threatening to fill my consciousness. So at that time we try to bring Krishna, Deyamapati, which somehow try to remember Krishna. So Krishna's lotus feet, they ultimately are not different from Krishna. Angani Sakalindri Bhaktimanti. So you can remember his lotus feet, you can remember his name, you can remember his pastimes, whatever. So when slowly we bring Krishna into our consciousness, over a period of time, what starts happening is that remembrance of Krishna starts filling our consciousness. And then the problem might still be there, but the problem becomes much smaller. It's there. So it's like at this stage, when we are here, we are living in pain. That pain is filling our consciousness. Now the pain has not disappeared over here, but here we are living with pain or with fear, not in fear. It is there, it's a part of my life, but it doesn't have to take over my life. So it's not that it will disappear. It can disappear with time also, but even if it doesn't disappear, it will decrease substantially. So that's why when we go to Krishna, I had raised this question earlier also, that when we are hearing, should we try to be looking for solutions to our problems or just forgetting our problems? But we can do both, but the key is focus on becoming conscious of Krishna. It's like, I say it's very hot outside, and we just come to our room, which is very comfortably cool, it's air conditioned. And when we come in that room, we feel relief. But sometimes, so the material world is samsara davana, and the remembrance of Krishna, placing our consciousness with Krishna, is like coming in the air conditioned room. We experience relief. But sometimes, what we do is we come to that room, we open the door, and we stand at the door, and we're half inside, half outside, and we're watching. Okay, when is the outside temperature going to become cool? Now, yeah, that's a good expectation. It's a concern. But then what is going to happen is at that time you're not experiencing the relief. Yes, the outside temperature will go cool at its own time. We can't control that, it will happen. So sometimes what happens when we come to Krishna, we are not so much Krishna conscious as problem conscious. And then still then the Krishna doesn't fill our consciousness. Then we don't experience relief. So it's like it's hot outside, we want the weather to become cooler. But first, let's come in. Let's first experience relief from the cold. Then we'll decide when we can go out. We need to go out, we can go out later. Similarly, when we come to Krishna, first immerse ourselves in Krishna. And then once we are immersed, we get that relief. Then we can look at the problem. So for us, Krishna needs to be bigger than the problems. Then Arpaya Devan. The distress, it will be destroyed in due course, but if it is not destroyed, the trouble caused by distress will become much lesser for us. So we'll discuss this theme later also in one of the verses when the Vishwamangalam, the gopis talk about how Krishna, you are auspicious for the whole world. I'll summarize what we discussed today. So we discussed two verses. In the first verse, we primarily discussed about desire and how if we don't want to eliminate desire, we want to elevate desire. And we discussed elaborately about Srila Prabhupada. His defining characteristic was overwhelmingly strong desire to fulfill Prabhupada's mission, Krishna's mission, sorry. So desire is actually the price for Krishna consciousness. Laulyam is the maulyam. So from wherever we can get the desire, we can get the desire and nourish the desire. And the second thing we talk about, the relief. When we are having distress, we make sure that amid problems, we make sure that we don't let the problem be filling our consciousness. We don't be problem conscious. We strive to be first Krishna conscious, and then we can look at the problem. Then we'll find that the problem, once the hugeness of Krishna is registered within us, Krishna has filled our consciousness, then we look at the problem, it won't overwhelm us. Then we can live with fear. We won't live, or pain, or whatever negativity is. We won't live in that. And living with something is easier, living in something is much more troublesome. So that's how we can experience Arpaya Dhiman, the freedom from distress. Thank you very much. Shri Gopi Gita ki
Jai.
Shri Krishna Bhagwan ki
Jai.
Shri Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Gaur Premanand.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, Hare Krishna, let's thank His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhuji, be loud and enthusiastic.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Actually, somebody has come here for the first time, this house. Very good, yeah. So you can see it's so beautifully decorated, is it? Yeah. So when Praveen Prabhu and Soma Mataji were buying this house, they brought us, brought me and my wife, they showed a shell of the house, and they were like, how this house should be. Then I remembered the advice from my Siksha Guru. I told this house should be the most beautiful house in the entire locality. Because Krishna Satsang is going to happen here. If you are living in a locality, you should set an example that we can use even the materialistic thing in such a beautiful way that actually represents Krishna. Right? And as you can see, many people who come to this house, they are amazed to seeing, when you go to the next floor and, including the lift, it is taking you to Goloka. You see, from planetary systems, they've kept that. Kiran Prabhu had done these interiors, they worked a lot, they spent a lot. I'm not saying that's the only way to show, but when you have it, show it. Right? So, please let us thank Praveen Prabhu and Soma Mataji for calling all of us to their house today morning. with 3 loud Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
So tomorrow we have satsang in Survi Mataji's house in Ramki Towers. Once again, it's amazing you all have made it on time. I'm seeing one trend. When the house is near to our house, we are going late. When it's far, we are going soon. There is something to do with, I don't know, probably can interpret tomorrow a little on that.
Bhaktivedanta Thakur would say that it is people who stay next to the railway station that they miss the train.
Okay, so we don't want to miss today's seminar now, so we have to go a little far away. So please give way to Prabhuji, he'll quickly leave. We have to go a little far. And let us also wish all the best to Mataji and Prabhuji who arranged some very important seminars today in Salesforce and Microsoft. They all go nicely, and ISKCON's movement enters into the most big corporates to bless everyone. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Everybody can have prashadam peacefully and slowly leave.
Thank you, bro. Thanks for the